Hi there, and welcome to Operation Carpe Diem. I'm your host, Caitlin, and here we help business owners seize their opportunity for success. Ready to start seizing your day? Let's dive right in. If I looked at you right now and told you that you could have a house and all it would cost you is a penny, just a single penny, you would probably look at me and tell me that I'm crazy. In this market, no way is a house a penny. No way is a house a penny in any market. And if you're not thinking that, at the very least, you're probably just a tad bit confused, right? But this idea of having a house for a penny is very true for some people that I've seen on TikTok, Instagram, and other social media platforms. My fiance Devin, he really loves these stories where this average person takes a penny or a bobby pin or a paper clip, anything really, and they trade it all the way up to a house, making something out of nothing. Any homeowner would take a look at your penny and see nothing in comparison to the house that they're selling. But with a little time, research, patience, and persistence, that penny can be traded for a hair tie, which will be traded for a pen, and eventually a car, tractors, a Chipotle VIP card, and a house. So you're probably wondering, Caitlin, this is a business podcast, right? Why on earth are we talking about trading a penny for a house? How does this relate to business? And it's because this concept of making something out of nothing can and should be applied to your business and everybody's business. To be a good business owner, I think that you have to have the skills and the mindset to make something out of nothing. And now, just like my favorite Vine legend, Thomas Sanders, I'm going to hit you with a little story time. I started my business in August of 2017. I had just graduated high school, which means if you didn't know how old I was from the Vine reference, now you really know my age. But it was never my intention to truly start a photography business. Do you know what I'm saying? I loved photography. I loved the art of it. I loved the creativity of it. I loved how much fun it was to go on photo shoots throughout town with my little sister. And photography is something that I had enjoyed for quite some time. I was always the kid at the family reunions who begged to take the group pictures or asked my aunts and cousins to use their little point-and-shoot cameras to take candids throughout the event. But when it came to business, I really had no clue what I was doing. And it wasn't even my idea to start a business. My mom had suggested to me, why don't you start this as a way to earn a little bit of side money when you're going into college? So it probably doesn't come to you as a surprise that whenever I started my business, I didn't have hundreds or thousands of followers. I didn't have top-of-the-line gear. I didn't really even have knowledge of how to be a photographer, and I definitely didn't have a ready-made list of clients who were eager and ready to book a session with me. What I did have when I started my business was far less glamorous. I had a love for photography from my youth that was later heightened by my school's journalism class. I had no desire to be anything but the cool friend who could take a good picture. I had a Canon Rebel T6, which was a Christmas gift my senior year of high school from my parents, and a college budget with little to no room for extra gear or education. If you know, you know, right? So how did I take all of that and turn it into a 6-figure business, right? You may look at that and be like, well, that's pretty easy, Caitlin. You had a camera. You had like the basics of being a photographer, right? A lot of people start their businesses with far less. And that's true. But I didn't have the mindset for it. I had no knowledge of how to work my camera properly. I didn't know about light. I really didn't know about posing other than what I had seen on Pinterest. So while I was in college, in between my classes and everything, I would take in all of the information that I could. I thought to myself, if I'm going to have this photography business, then I should probably start treating it like a business, right? I need to give it a fair shot and my best shot at that. So I didn't go to school for business. I didn't even go to school for the arts. I majored in pre-law and political science in college. So in between all of those classes on state and local government and all kinds of things like that, I would sit in my dorm room on my bed with my little laptop, and I would watch YouTube videos or sign up for webinars, listen to podcasts, or read blogs or posts in Facebook groups. And all of that helped me grow little by little by little. I took all of those little nuggets of information and stored them right in my brain. And I took those drops of wisdom and I soaked it up like a sponge. I took everything that I learned and I applied them to my very next sessions. And then I took what I learned at those sessions or after those sessions in new YouTube videos or anything, and I would apply them to my next ones and my next ones and my next ones, right? So if I did something that worked really, really well at one of my sessions, I took like a mental screenshot of that and I said, I'm going to repeat that for as many sessions as I can, right? If something works really well, I wanted to duplicate it. 1, so that it works well again, but 2, to kind of do like a scientific method experiment on it, right? To make sure that that one thing that worked well wasn't a fluke or a happy accident or only worked because it was this particular client. I repeated it and made sure that this was a tried and true method. And I kept doing that. And then vice versa as well. If something didn't work very well, I either knew to avoid it for next time or knew to maybe do a little bit of research or think, how can I change this or tweak this a little bit to make it better for the next time? So, for example, if I had a really hard time getting a client into a particular pose, I can, after the session, look back on that and try to evaluate why that didn't work. Why was this particular pose so difficult? Was it the way that I was communicating? Was this pose just difficult for this particular client? Do I need to show them how to do it better? Because I know I'm a very visual person, right? So I took all of that and I was applying it and applying it and applying it. And we can say the same thing about my finances. I was taking all of the profits, or the majority of my profits, and using that to upgrade my gear. So now, instead of just learning about all of this stuff, like my lighting and my posing and my client experience, now the overall quality of my work is getting better due to my gear as well. So I would use the profits that I had saved up to buy a better lens or a better camera body or a better flash or client management software or a gallery delivery software, because like most photographers, I started out using Google Drive, which I don't recommend. I use CloudSpot now and it's amazing. So definitely look into them if you're looking for a gallery delivery service. And that's not sponsored. I just really like them. But anybody would take all of that information and look at you and say, better gear doesn't make you a better photographer or a better videographer or a better business owner, right? There's a classic example of giving a pro or a seasoned veteran the most basic beginner gear versus giving a beginner, somebody who's never really held a camera, let alone knows how to work it professionally, top of the line pro gear, and seeing which one creates a better film or takes a better photograph at this specific location. And it's almost always the pro with the beginner gear, right? So let's apply the same concept to marketing and clientele, because I think this is really where this mindset of making something out of nothing really starts to shine. So Devin and I, we are wedding photographers, and we have an amazing couple that we photographed their wedding, Brendan and Mackenzie. Brendan and Mackenzie found us on Facebook on a bride group where brides and couples can look for vendors like photographers and venues and DJs and caterers and all kinds of things. So they found us on Facebook and they eventually book us for their wedding. Their wedding rolls around, we photograph it after their engagement session, of course, and I post sneak peeks on Instagram. I tag all of their vendors and their vendors start to share it, and then I blog on my website all of my favorite images from their day to tell the full story of their day. And that all sounds great. Like, Caitlin, that's just a marketing plan. That has nothing to do with making something out of nothing. You had a client and you posted their pictures. But what comes from that, or what can come from that marketing strategy, are hundreds of clients, right? Brendan and Mackenzie, their wedding was gorgeous, and whenever another couple, Logan and Megan, found their wedding on my blog, on my website, they not only booked us to be their photographers, they booked the same venue as Brendan and Mackenzie because of how beautiful it was. And that's not to brag about myself or my work. That's to show you that one client, or from one client, can come many, right? Let's take an example. You have one client, you're starting out your business, you have one friend that agrees to do a session with you, whether it's paid or free or whatever it may be, right? You have one client, they do a session. They tell 10 of their friends, hey, I had an amazing time at my session with this photographer. Or if you're not a photographer, hey, I ordered this candle, or this person makes really cool stickers, or whatever it is that you sell in your small business. They had an amazing experience with you, and they tell 10 of their friends. Now, this is a little bit extreme, and no referral rate is ever 100%, but for the sake of example, let's play along. Those 10 friends that one client told about you now is purchasing from your business, right? So that one person who had a session with me told 10 of their friends, and now all 10 of those friends want to book a session with me. So we book them on my calendar. They all have amazing times at their sessions, and now they're telling 10 friends about me. That's 100 people who now know about my business, and it all stems from that one initial client. One client doesn't keep you in business unless you know how to see the potential in that one client. Brendan and Mackenzie, although they're amazing, don't keep us in business by themselves. And we have photographed them a number of times. We photographed their engagement session, their wedding. We photographed their anniversary session, Mackenzie's college graduation for her doctorate degree. We've done videos for their anniversary and that college senior session. And we will probably continue to photograph them for as long as we're in business. But that one client, even though they're booking us multiple times, does not keep us in business by themselves. It's because of the amazing experience that we gave them, the way that we made them feel during their time with us and throughout their experience with us, that keeps them coming back to us. There's a lot of people out there, and myself included, that would tell you that the photography market is pretty saturated. They could go, Brendan and Mackenzie, they could go to any photographer they wanted to. They don't have to keep coming back to us. They don't have to refer their friends to us. They don't have to, if one of their bridesmaids or one of their groomsmen or one of their friends is getting married, they don't have to go to them and say, oh my goodness, you have to hire Caitlin and Devin for your wedding. Like, there's no other option. They are the best. But because of the experience we gave them, they do go and say these things. They do refer all of their friends. And then those friends, if they book us, usually go out and do the same thing and find even more friends and more friends and more friends, which is how you keep your business alive. You start with one thing and you make something out of it, and then something out of that, and then something out of that. You take one idea, one thing that you learn, and you apply it and you apply it and you watch it grow, and you make something out of nothing. You take that penny and you trade it all the way up to a house. You take that one camera that you got for Christmas and you turn it into a 6-figure business. You take that Cricut machine that you just got for your birthday or Christmas, or that you just bought yourself at Hobby Lobby. And I say that because I've been eyeballing a Cricut machine for probably a good year for our wedding. And you say, hey, not only can that address all of my invitations with the really cool calligraphy that I like, but I can start a little side hustle on the side and then watch it grow on Etsy or whatever platform you market that on. That's the kind of mindset that we want as small business owners. That's the kind of mindset that we want in life. Making something out of nothing. I want to leave you with a thought and a question. Take a step back and think about where you are in your business. I don't know if you have been doing this for years, if you just started a few months or weeks or days ago, or maybe this idea of a business is simply in your head. It's not even something that you've muttered to your closest friend yet. Wherever you are with your business, think about what you want to achieve with it. It could be something as simple as what my goal was whenever I started my business in college, which was to make some side money and to not have another job for like the majority of my college career. And eventually I did get another job to buy gear faster for my photography. Or it could be something that you think is out of this world and unachievable. Maybe you think that making 6 figures in your business is the goal. Maybe you think that replacing your full-time job's income is the goal. Maybe it's enough money to go full-time in your business and you get to stay at home with your kids instead of going to an office. Whatever it may be, take a step back and just write it down. And if you're not in a position to write it down, pause this episode real quick and send yourself a text or send a text to somebody that will hold you accountable to this. And then come right back here and press play again. Now, whenever you have that goal, whatever it may be, think about all the steps that you can take to get there. All of the little bitty achievable steps that you can take to get to your seemingly unachievable dream. How are you going to get from your penny to the house that you want? What steps do you need to take in your business in order to get all the way up to that house? If you're starting with a penny, where are you going to find your bobby pin to trade for a hair tie, to trade for an ink pen, to trade for a pack of Post-its, and eventually that car, that tractor, that Chipotle VIP card, and that house? And you don't need to know all the answers right now. This isn't a 10-year plan. This isn't a 5-year plan. This is just to get you started. What steps, what baby steps can you take? Are you going to take right now to start your journey to your house, to your end goal, to your dream? Thank you for listening to Operation Carpe Diem. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow along on Instagram at Caitlin Wilcox Photography. That's CAITLIN Wilcox Photography. Until next time, let's go seize the day.